Hi, this is an introduction in how to use the Scarf-O-Matic. You're going to take about 12 to 15 meters off your ball of wool and fold it in half to find the center. Then place that loop between your two pegs. This is going to form the center thread that will hold all your loops and your scarf together. Next, take the end of your wool in your left hand and hold it with your thumb. Make a loop with the working thread and again hold it with your thumb and take the thread through the loop. If you pull the left hand tight, this will tighten the knot, making a slip knot. You're going to place that over your left hand peg and pull it tight. You're now ready to start your figure of eights. So all we do now, very gently, not too tightly, work figure of eights around your two pegs, and I generally do about 6 and push them down. You're now going to take your center thread, that center loop, and put the two tail threads through that loop, but don't take them all the way through, just enough so you're going to make another loop and pull it tight. Now it's really important that you pull this knot tight, as this is going to hold your figure of eights in place. Then off you go again with your figure of eights. And I finish with my thread behind the right hand peg. Push them down and take your two tail ends through the two loops. See, just take it through, pull it nice and tight with the bottom thread, bottom of the loop, and that makes it really tight. And then off we go again with our loops. Now this is great for people with dexterity problems because you only really need to use 2 fingers on each hand, and I'll show you how I actually work the wool now. I hold the thread in my left hand, and with my right hand I take it over the right hand peg, with the left hand taking the thread behind the peg. That's really all I do. I make a loop with my right hand and the left hand takes the wool behind the peg, and you just keep working in that fashion until you've worked your 6. I'll just keep working a little way now till it gets closer to the top, and then I'll show you how you take your loops off and continue with your scarf. I'm just going to finish off now. Take my loops through and pull it tight. I just can squeeze one more on there, I think, before I finish. See, this works up very quickly. And pull your loop really tight. Now all I do is I just make that loop a little bit larger so that I can see it against my other loops, and just very gently pull all your loops off, and you lay it down in front of your board, pulling your center thread loop through the middle. And I just work a couple of figure eights singly, and then off I go again with my 2 hands. You don't have to worry if your scarf is not right in the middle, because you can put that right with your loops now. Just hold it in the middle, make sure it's central, and make sure that this one is really tight, and that will then pull the 2 sections together quite nicely. And off you go again with your figure of eights, and you just keep repeating that until your scarf is as long as you'd like it to be. See, it works out quite nicely. And I'm using a contrasting central thread at the moment just to show you the difference so you can see how it all works. Generally I would use exactly the same colour that I'm using in my scarf. I'll just show you once more. You just pull them very gently off, put your loops, your central loop between the two pegs, and start your figure of eights again. Again, don't worry if it's not central, you're going to put that right when you do your next knot. Just make sure it's central and that you pull it tight to pull the two sections together. And then off you go again, working your scarf. Let me show you how you attach a central thread. Don't leave your tails too short, and prepare a new thread in exactly the same way and lay it in between your two pegs. So you've now got two loops. Work your loops as normal to your sixth one, but this time instead of making a loop, you're going to separate your two tail ends, and you're going to take one of them all the way through the loop this time and pull tight, so that you have a tail end on either side of your figure of eights. We're going to do a surgical knot now. That's where you take your thread under 2 or 3 times and pull tight, and then you do that again, and this forms a really tight knot, because the last thing you want is these knots coming undone and your scarf falling to pieces. Take those to one side and just snip. And if this was not a contrasting colour, that would actually blend in quite nicely. And before you start again, just take your loop, and as you would normally, make your second loop and pull it tight. And then you're ready to start with your loops. And it's really that easy. So you can make stripes or contrasting colours, so it means you don't have to use a really long central thread, because it is just so easy to join a central thread. So let me show you when you get to the end of the ball of wool, or you'd like to change colour. To change your working ball, all you do is make a slip knot like you did right at the very beginning, pull it tight and start again. You just trim your old ball of wool level with the pegs and you're ready to go. And it really is that simple to create some stunning scarves. You could also make belts with this, with the two narrowest pegs, or even a light handbag handle. So when your scarf has reached the length that you require, you finish off exactly the same as if you was changing your thread, and just take one tail end through your loop and pull tight. I've got some loops there, but that really doesn't matter. As long as that knot is tight, any extra little loops will get disguised into the centre of your scarf. Work another surgical knot so that that's really tight, and then you do it the other way, wrapping your thread over 2 or 3 times. Then you take it to one side and snip. You take your working thread to one side and snip, and then just very gently pull off, and there you have, admittedly a short scarf here, but that is basically how your scarf will look. Any slip knots that you've made, just make sure that you just pull that slip knot out very gently and cut that level with your loops. Then all the left to do is then actually twist your scarf, and there you have, like I say, a very short one. Looks a bit like a guinea pig there, but a short scarf.